If you want to save tens of materials per second during combat, use 1 overclock. If you want to destroy your enemies quickly and have a more compact, powerful vehicle, use 2 overclock. 2 overclock makes your gun twice as powerful and demands 4 times the energy per shot. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, we can dive into all of this nonsense. This is the Fort Steam platform. 2. I've been using a modified version of this, recently just adjusted for your enjoyment, to test out all of my steam engines. We have steam turbines up here, we have some large steam engines here, mediums over here, smalls over here. Some of these may have been from various other developers like 3Cat or Blarent, so be sure to Google the 3Cat fuel platform and the Blarent steam platform whenever you're able to, or just Google steam platform on the workshop. We got some direct drives. This is from my Bigosaurus Revenge, and this is a custom one I whipped up, I believe, from a message on the Discord server. This was one of the suggested prefabs. No, we're not here for that, though. We're here for particle cannons. What overclock do you want to use? So, this is a 1 overclock system. It takes in 514 power. Each of these turbines is what is called a mini bow tie turbine. You got boiler, turbine, generator on both sides for a small volume advantage, compared to if you just have the turbines on one side. Anyways, each turbine makes 514 power at 73.3 power per volume and 513.9 power per material. That is relatively compact and relatively inefficient. We are looking at a 30-second piercing, 35% focus overclock 1 particle cannon, specifically the Cyclops, right here, directly from the prefabs. This one has 21.781 firepower, which is the overclock 1 version, as in no overclocking. We need 12 turbines and 1.33 of these big batteries to run it. It does a pretty neat 43,000 damage, which is actually pretty high for such a small cannon. And it only requires, I guess it's not mentioned here, I will correct this for you later, needs 559.20 energy per second. I guess we'll just put that over here. This one, however, is overclocked to double. It requires 4 times the amount of energy per second. Specifically, where is it? 23,680 energy per second, which is provided by 47 of these turbines, which is, a lot more. Sorry, I forget numbers easily. 23,680 energy per second. 23,680 energy per second. Indeed, and requires 5.33 of these big turbines, because, big batteries, because, you've got to store all of that energy. In exchange, your cannon, which is the same size as this one back here, it's only overclocked, is twice as powerful. Now, what does that get you for stats? In terms of raw firepower per material, this sits around 700. It also has a 3.46 volume per firepower, which is very low, and 1.38 weight per firepower, which is very low. Particle cannons are very compact things, after all. Although they are relatively expensive. And that's before you account for the amount of material that you need to run the turbines and everything. Even just build the turbines, actually. Once we account for this down here, we get 829.7 material per firepower. Keep in mind that this is a short-range particle cannon, and if you want to fire at longer ranges, you're going to get even higher demands for your energy. This is why a lot of particle cannon ships are rushdown builds that attempt to essentially close the gap as quickly as possible. If you look at something such as the Fulcrum Blaster Block 12, which should be on the Steam Workshop at some point, it has about twice the material per firepower, because it is attempting to shoot at 1,700 meters instead of under 1 kilometer. Under 1,000 meters. So, where does that get us overall, though? We get 828.7 material per firepower, just about including 3 minutes of operation and to buy the batteries and the turbines. Well, actually, I don't think this includes the batteries. It does include the turbines, though, which are about twice as expensive as the batteries, so keep that in mind. However, once we get double overclock, naturally our material per firepower is that directly cut in half? Yes, directly cut in half. We are now, of course, we only need a cannon that is half as expensive to get the same amount of firepower, or our exact same cannon is twice as powerful. Hence the doubled material per firepower, or I guess the halved material per firepower. The doubled firepower per material. Sometimes these parameters get a bit confusing. Since we are paying for more turbines, our material per firepower still, goes up by a lot more than in this case. This case it went up about 130. In this case, it went up by 280. But still, though, overall, we get a more compact system and a less expensive system to run a specific amount of firepower. 129.7 for this 1 overclock, and 619.4 for this 2 overclock. So, very neat. If you want a more powerful unit, then you run the double overclock. However, keep in mind, this runs at 4 times the materials per second. And at, 513 power per material, running at 23,680 power usage, you are paying 43 firepower, 23,680 divided by 513. You're using 46 materials per second on this one particle cannon. Which, to keep that in mind, the starting resource zone in the easy campaign runs at about 42 materials per second regeneration, so you're going to be losing materials straight up when you are in combat. I'm going to have to double check at some point whether, or if somebody can double check already, whether the material resource zones are still generating and harvesting materials when a battle is going on. I do not know. Nonetheless, when you're in combat, this can add up a little bit. However, Overclock gives you more advantages as well. The system is twice as powerful, it's smaller, and you can reallocate these turbines wherever you want. For example, if you have them on a ship, you can stuff them below the waterline, which means less vulnerable particle cannon up on the surface, and less stuff to armor. You can lose turbines and still be standing for a little bit, even if your energy and firepower are going to decrease in the long run. But if any block of this particle cannon goes down, your particle cannon no longer works. It is malfunctioning. Yep, look at that. We just shot ourselves. So, keep that in mind. A overclock system will be smaller, harder to hit, and theoretically more durable as a result. Well, that's just about all I had today, I think, for the overclocked particle cannons. I hope you enjoyed this mini tutorial, and I will see you all in the next one. This Steam platform will now also be on the Steam Workshop for your enjoyment. Have a nice evening.